Hey guys, welcome back. Today we are covering the perfect evening skincare routine. If you missed it, last time we talked about the perfect morning skincare routine, and I break down all of the steps that you need, that you don't need, and that might be nice to include but are not necessary in your morning skincare routine. So if you missed that video, definitely go back and check that out. And today we're going to be covering what do you need to do at night? How does your nighttime skincare routine differ from your morning skincare routine? And all of that from a dermatologist perspective. So let's get to it. Your evening skincare routine should be different than your morning skincare routine because you're preparing for different things. At the end of the day, you want to wash off all of the dirt and oil and everything that has accumulated during the day, but you don't have to protect yourself from ultraviolet rays and from the same type of pollution and toxins that you'll be exposed to while you're sleeping at night versus what you go through during the day. So when we look at the type of active products that you're going to include on your skin, it will be a little bit different, but some of the steps you'll notice are quite similar. Now, the first step in your evening skincare routine, just like the morning, is cleansing your skin. You want to get all of that stuff off of your skin that you accumulated all day long and get out sunscreen, get the makeup off, whatever it is that you've put on your skin. So what we're going to do is pick the type of cleanser that'll work best for your skin type. I typically use a gentle cleanser, and I'm going to show you a few examples of cleansers that I like, but that doesn't mean you need to purchase one of these cleansers. You certainly could pick any type of cleanser that works well for your skin. And you may want to use a more active cleanser, something with salicylic acid or benzoyl peroxide, if you're trying to battle acne or if your dermatologist has instructed you to include those in your skincare routine. For me, I prefer gentle cleansers, so that's what we're going to work with today. Here's a few examples of ones that I like, and there's many more on top of this that I use on a regular basis. I'm not showing kind of my typical ones today like CeraVe, Cetaphil, and La Roche-Posay. We're looking at a few different ones that I've also become fans of that are just nice, gentle cleansers. The first one is called Confidence in a Cleanser. This is from IT Cosmetics. They make a lot of great products, and this is a really gentle cleanser that works well for my skin type. It's more of a serum, lightweight cleanser. It lathers up a little bit, but not a ton. But it feels good for my skin, and I've enjoyed using it. I feel like it gives me a really good clean. Another option is Yes2. This is their Avocado Cleanser. It's made for dry and sensitive skin, which I have, so I like using it. It definitely doesn't foam up as much as some of the other cleansers that I like using, but this is at a pretty good price point, and they have other types of cleansers for different skin types. I just go with the one for dry and sensitive skin because it works well for me. And a third option that I'm going to share today is from Layers. This is their Balancing Milky Cleanser. It's also very gentle. I'm going to actually use this one here on camera, and we'll continue with our skincare routine. Now, this one doesn't foam up or lather a whole lot, but it feels really good, and it's definitely very gentle on my skin. Again, typically you can just use your hands, your fingertips, if that's enough to cleanse your skin adequately. You don't need to use anything strong or scrubbing. There are some tools you can use if you like to use them. Again, like I talked about in the morning skincare routine, the Clean Logic line of products can also be used at night because they're really not too aggressive and they provide really gentle exfoliation. Let me rinse this off and we'll go on to the next step. So now that you've cleansed and you've patted your face dry, you can move on to the other steps in your skincare routine. Now, one thing that I will say is that you have the option also to do what's called a double cleanse. I usually don't double cleanse. During the summer, I will do it a little bit more when I've got really heavy sunscreen on, if I've been outside doing activities all day. A double cleanse is usually going to use a cleansing balm or a cleansing oil to remove some of those not water-soluble products off of your skin. So I like the Mario Badescu cleansing oil. It is really quite a gentle one. I like the Green Clean cleansing balm from Pharmacy Beauty. But as the weather starts to cool off, I don't do a double cleanse. I'm not wearing as heavy of sunscreen as frequently during the day, and double cleansing kind of just dries my skin out a little bit more. That is a step you can take, but it's not a necessary one, and there's no data that says double cleansing is better for your skin. And most cleansers do an adequate job of removing makeup and sunscreen. So it's not necessary, but it's a nice step to add if you enjoy that experience. Once again, you have the option to use an essence or a toner after you've cleansed your skin. Again, some of the ones we've talked about in our morning skincare routine, like the Tatcha or the Fresh Beauty. These are nice essences. They're unnecessary in your skincare routine, but you certainly can add them on if it's something that you enjoy using. This is also a time where you could choose to use a lightweight exfoliator. Some of the lightweight exfoliators that I like using are from Neutrogena. This is their Skin Perfecting exfoliator. It's a 7% AHA/PHA blend with hyaluronic acid. This one is made for dry skin. If you like to exfoliate, you get a little bit of glycolic acid in there. and it's not too aggressive. You have the hydration effects of hyaluronic acid, so that can be used, on a nightly basis if you like exfoliating that much. They also make exfoliators for more oily skin and for normal or combination skin. Similarly, Clinique has their clarifying lotions. These are light exfoliators as well. As an alternative to exfoliating serums or lotions, like I just talked about, there are things like exfoliating enzyme pads. This one is from Skin Fix, and it comes in a pad. So this is easy to keep in your gym bag, for example. Pop the top off and just pull one out, and you can wipe the face down that way. Another good option for exfoliation. And you can do them on a nightly basis. I don't personally like to do exfoliators on an every night basis because it does dry out my skin, even the ones designed for dry and sensitive skin. And so I don't do them every night. I may do them once a week at the very most. But whenever you're exfoliating, I wouldn't be doing that on the same night that you're using a retinol, which we'll talk about next. The retinol that I'm going to use tonight is from IT Cosmetics. This is called Hello Results. I enjoy using this one because it's a nice, effective retinol. However, it's in a lotion form and it hydrates the skin. I can use this very consistently without getting significantly dry, and it works well with everything else that I use in my skincare routine. You may find a retinol that works better for you, and that's totally okay. This is the one I use most consistently. Now, there are many dozens or even more retinols available on the market, and I've talked a lot about many of them on other social channels. I'm going to show you a couple today, but that's not to mean that you can't use other brands that you like using. Most importantly is using a retinol that you can tolerate. The more frequently that you can use it, the better. If you can only tolerate using your retinol every third night, perhaps, then maybe you need to pick one that's a little bit more gentle for your skin. And it may not be possible to use a retinol. Not everybody can tolerate using them every single night, and that's okay. It's an important step for many people in their skincare routine, but it's not essential for every single person. You may also find that your dermatologist can prescribe tretinoin or another prescription strength retinol, and that is the same. You would want to use that at this point in your skincare routine. The way that I recommend to my patients to use a retinol is to take a pea-sized amount, and that should be enough to cover the whole face. Now, I like the IT Cosmetics one because it pops up just the right amount that you need. And so we're going to take a little bit of that on the fingertip, dot your forehead, chin, cheeks, and nose, and then you just gently rub that in. Now, when you're using a retinol, I recommend not getting too close to the eyes or to the mouth. That skin is going to be a little bit more sensitive, and you're more likely to experience irritation while using a retinol in those areas. So I am careful not to get too close to the eyes or to the mouth. Now, ideally, a retinol should go on dry skin. If you put a retinol on moist skin, damp skin, it's going to penetrate too much and you're going to get more irritation. So retinol can, in the long run, compromise your skin barrier if you're using one that's too strong for your skin or you're using it too frequently. So it is a fine balance to use one that's effective and one that isn't causing dryness and irritation for you. So I do recommend putting it on dry skin. Now, as we move on to the next steps in our skincare routine, there's many things that you can do. And the next step might include something like a hyaluronic acid before a moisturizer. So you can put on hyaluronic acid, which most of the hyaluronic acids available on the market are saturated in water. They've got enough water in them that you're not going to be drawing a lot of water out of the skin, especially with high molecular weight hyaluronic acid. So you don't need to put damp skin. You don't need to make your skin wet again before you put on a hyaluronic acid. Then I do recommend that you follow that with a moisturizer. For my next step in the skincare routine, this is where I would include an eye cream, however, before I would jump into any other moisturizers. An eye cream is kind of a luxury step. It is not necessary for everybody to do, but it is a nice thing if you're trying to depuff those areas under your eye or focus on crow's feet, because eye creams are generally made for that thin, sensitive skin. I've got two eye cream examples here to show you. The first is from Beekman 1802. It's their Dewy-eyed Illuminating Eye Serum. This one is made with goat's milk and probiotics, and so it is really gentle, and it is marketed to help promote a healthy skin microbiome, which is an area of research we're learning a lot more about as we do more research into skincare products and to skin health and skin diseases as it relates to the type of bacteria and things that live on our skin. So the Dewy-eyed Illuminating Serum is very nice and really great for gentle skin, like most of the Beekman 1802 products. Rock is another market leader in over-the-counter eye creams. So their retinol correction line smoothing cream is one of the best, in my opinion, for our retinol around the eye. I like it specifically because in a survey of patients using it, there was 0% irritation. And so this one is really good also for that sensitive skin around the eyes. It doesn't do any good if you're using a product that's causing a lot of irritation. I'm going to start with the rock. We're going to do one side with one side with the other, and we're going to take just a little bit. It doesn't take a lot, and just kind of dab it underneath there. And remember, I didn't get my retinol too close to the eye, so I'm not hurting anything. Using that retinol that's made for the rest of the face. This one is a retinol eye cream, and we're just going to gently rub it in, get the area of the crow's feet and that under eye area to help depuff, to help eliminate the dark circles under the eyes, and to promote the reduction of crow's feet. I'm going to use the Dewy Illuminating Serum on the other side. This one's a little bit different consistency, a little lighter. Same principle, just dab it under there. I like you guys to have options in skincare and not feel compelled to buy everything that I'm using. So I'll give you lots of options. And if you have a good product that's working well for you, don't go out and spend the money to buy something new. It's not necessary. Many of us are trying to be more conscious about our environmental impact. And there's a lot of waste in skincare, especially if you buy something and don't use it. So I want to provide good information to you so you know that something is worthwhile buying it. And try to use up the stuff that you have already in your bathroom before you move on to something new. So now that I've gotten to that point, this is a step in a skincare routine where you might want to include that hyaluronic acid before we move on to a moisturizer. And this isn't a luxury step. This is not a necessity for most people, in my opinion, but it's something that you can do if you like to do it. I don't frequently take this step in my skincare routine because I just don't do a lot of steps. I tend to keep it pretty simple, cleanse my face, use a retinol, and moisturize, but I want to add in some of these other steps to just illustrate for you guys how to do them properly. The hyaluronic acid serum that I'm using is from Jordan Samuel Skin. This is a very nice one, and it's just a good hyaluronic acid. So let's pop it open and give it a use. Now, some people will take a dropper and drop it on their face. I just don't like doing that because it ends up running and dripping off. So I always put it on my palm, and I'll get 1 or 2 dropperfuls. This one also has glycerin, which is another great hydrating ingredient in it. And I just dab and kind of rub it into my face. And the hyaluronic acid is totally safe to use up under the eyelid skin as well. So once you've used the hyaluronic acid serum, now is the time to move on to moisturizer. If your doctor has prescribed other steps for you, I would use those before you use a moisturizer. So if you're using something to target pigmentation, if you're using something for rosacea, make sure you use that before you move on to a moisturizer. And you may not be using a retinol if you're using other prescription products from your dermatologist, and that's okay. The most important thing is to correct whatever they've prescribed for you and then move on to just a regular skincare routine if it's something that can be cured. So now it's time to moisturize, and there's a lot of moisturizers available on the market. I've talked about some in my AM skincare video, and some of the ones that I use on a regular basis are going to be like Biossance, the Squalane, and Omega Repair. I use a lot of CeraVe cream, even the one made for the body. I use Cetaphil cream, I'll use Vanna cream, and those are totally okay to use on the face. They're not comedogenic, and they're very nourishing and very hydrating, especially if you have dry or sensitive skin. If you have more oily skin, you don't want to use a thick, heavy moisturizer. It's probably not going to feel as good for you. And choosing a lightweight moisturizer may suit your skin type better. Something like CeraVe PM Lotion, which has a lot more gel-like texture, or the Selfless by Hyram moisturizer, which has a similar consistency. I'll show you a few of the moisturizers that I enjoy using. One is the Bloom Cream from Beekman 1802. I know I've already talked about that brand before, but this moisturizer pops up, and they call it the Bloom Cream because it comes out almost like a flower there. So that one is really good for dry, sensitive skin. I do use this one pretty frequently, and it can be combined with other ingredients. For example, with the Bloom Cream, you can actually drop in a bakuchiol into the top of it and then use that on the skin. So if you're really dry and sensitive and you cannot tolerate using a retinol, I recommend grabbing the Bloom Cream and the bakuchiol drops, the night drops from Beekman 1802. Bakuchiol is a great alternative to a retinol if you don't tolerate a retinol. It's plant-derived, it's botanical, and it gives you some of the benefits of retinol. It's not quite as potent, in my opinion, but it's a lot more gentle. It's good for very sensitive skin. So bakuchiol is a good alternative ingredient if you cannot tolerate a retinol, and it pairs really well with the Beekman 1802 Bloom Cream. Another moisturizer that I like is the Rene Rouleaux Skin Recovery Lotion. This one is a little bit more lightweight, so if I'm not too dry or sensitive, I might use something like this, but this one does a good job. It's just not as thick as like the CeraVe cream or the Biossance cream, but I do enjoy using it quite a bit, so I would recommend that even if you have dry or sensitive skin. it works pretty well for me. Another option that's a little bit thicker cream, which I'm a big fan of, is the Restoring Night Cream from Sunbum. This one comes in a jar. Usually you're going to think of Sunbum as a sunscreen company, but they make other really nice skincare products as well. And they do have a little bit of a natural fragrance to them, but this one also has niacinamide and vitamin E. So you get some other good ingredients in there other than just an occlusive moisturizer. And the last plug I'll give is the Serum cream from Dr. Jart. This one is a thicker, nice moisturizing cream. I like using this one a lot, and that's what I'm going to put on tonight for purposes of this video. But again, don't feel compelled to use any of the specific products that I have. I just like to give you guys examples. So now that we've done everything else, let's put a little moisturizer on the skin, and then let's talk about a couple other things before we let you go. Now you can take the moisturizer and kind of dab it onto your face so you get a good even application. Or you can rub it in your hands and then just go ahead and rub it in. It's not really a wrong way to do it. Alright, so I've got my evening skincare routine completely done now. If you want to do some slugging, you can put Vaseline on over the top. I rarely do that unless I'm really, really dry and irritated and I'm leaving out all of my active ingredients. You can also think about body skincare if you're trying to tackle things like back acne. You can use a salicylic acid body spray. One that I like is from SLMD Skincare. That's Dr. Sandra Lee or Dr. Pimple Popper. We'll do a whole nother video on body skincare for things like acne, but just a quick little plug for a product like this that you can spray it and it's going to deliver salicylic acid on the back or wherever you're using it just to help calm down some of that acne in hard to reach areas. But you don't do this kind of full skincare routine on your back. The products generally don't penetrate that well, so you want to get specialized products for that. So now that we've wrapped up the entire evening skincare routine, let me know what your questions are down in the comments. I hope this was helpful for you. And if you didn't check out the morning skincare routine video, go ahead and go back and do that. Find the products that are going to work well for your skin type and leave me additional questions in the comments below to let me know what products or what types of topics you'd like me to cover. And I'll be happy to cover those for you. Thanks for sticking around with me, and I'll see you next time.